In this video, I'd like to share one of my favorite stories. I call this the easiest 9K that I ever made. A little bit of background. We had a prospect who said, Joe, I'd like a proposal. We've got a 25K budget, and it was a pretty hard budget. And unfortunately, we can't meet with you. Now, those were kind of bad signals for me. First off, we did very high-end digital projects, and they're typically about 25K was our minimum. But also, if you followed our materials, I'm a really big fan of the proposal review meeting. I don't want to just give someone my proposal. I want the chance to sell them on it. Here's why I created it this way. Here's, I want to overcome objections and walk them through it. But in this case, we needed the work in that season. And so I pulled my sales guy in my office. I said, hey, Richie, we don't normally do this, but I want you to put together a proposal. Don't spend more than like 15, 20 minutes on it. Just use our default. And then I want you to deselect a bunch of stuff and chuck it over the fence. Okay. Now we had a template ready, so we could do this. Back then it wasn't called Smart Pricing Table. It was my own company's internal tool. But again, we could just deselect some stuff. It wasn't the most attractive quote from an offering standpoint, but it definitely got the job done. So we sent it out, and for 2 weeks, I heard nothing. Honestly, I'd kind of moved on. I wasn't even thinking about it. I thought, there's no way this is going through. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I got a signature request for $34,000. This blew my mind. Again, I had moved on. I wasn't even thinking about the deal anymore. And what had happened is they had looked at it, and because our proposal was interactive and we had some options, they just checked some boxes, perhaps motivated by FOMO, fear of missing out, and they increased the price on their own. I learned two really big lessons. The first one is budgets don't really mean anything. In fact, I really like Jason Swank recommends the reverse escalator, I believe he calls it, where you say something like, do you have you don't ask them what's your budget. You say, well, what kind of budget are we working with? Are you, 50 to 100 grand, 25 to 50, 10 to 25, under 10, like where's that hitting you? And that's a great way, by the way, to get a good number without just asking them, and they're not going to tell you something accurate. So budgets don't matter, but I also learned the power of options. Good grief. If I had come to this prospect a few weeks earlier and I said, look, I know you really want to do this project and you've got 25 grand, but in order for me to make you really happy, I'm actually going to need $34,000. Okay. Well, they would have walked. They would have thought I was a sales guy just trying to get more money. But when they could check the boxes themselves, right? When they could make the options, look at the different upsells that I had in that proposal, all of a sudden it was a game changer. They found the money. The money starts to flow. The money flows easier when you give your customer a little bit of agency and allow them to tweak some things. Again, versus you pulling it out of them. So again, easiest 9K I ever made. They ended up being a great customer, a great project. And I love sharing this story because it just shows how powerful options can be with prospects.